Do we need a religion? That's a personal thing.
Haven't modern advances and modern ways of thinking somewhat limited our need for religion?
No.
I don't believe that scientific advancements have made need for religion or need for God, redundant. I don't believe that.
I don't know if technology means we have less need for God. I just think it's still dealing with important parts of our life.
Modern society cannot exist without religion.
Why do you say that?
Well, it depends upon one's perspective of religion. Society cannot exist without a way of life.
Right.
The Hindu perspective is there is a way of life. Once the way of life is ended, there'll be no society.
It wasn't until kind of the Enlightenment where people started questioning those things. And since the Enlightenment to now, there's been an explosion of new developments in the science. Before the Enlightenment, it was a very small amounts of scientific development. And since then, it's just been like 20-fold since that period. So in some ways, religion repressed development.
And what we've been able to learn by repeatable, observable things is tremendous. However, we both know that there are very important things in the universe that are not observable and not repeatable in certain cases. Right. And so I think if you just constrain your relativity to things that I can look at and things that I can measure, you're going to miss the point on a lot of things. Like, say, love, joy, hope. Technology is just an extension of ourselves, extension of our eyes, television, extension of our feet is a car, right? So now we have the internet, we can actually relate, and we have an extension of relationships. Well, then you see people are, you can spend all your time on virtual relationships, and connecting online, I'm not against it, I use it, I use all that stuff. But at what point is then real face-to-face intimacy become more treasured in the midst of all the virtual?
We need to understand that scientific discoveries are not without their own values that they impose on us. Forget about the major scientific discoveries. You take a knife. What immediately comes to your mind when you take a knife? That's something that you need to cut with, right? The same, for instance, you create a nuclear bomb. What comes to mind immediately? That you're going to use it to destroy some people. So in other words, the scientists are really not simply making scientific discoveries that are value-free. Every scientific discovery comes embedded with its own values. Right. And so, depending on where it comes from, if let's say a scientific discovery were motivated by religious values, for instance, as the Muslims would say that, okay, we need to create medicine because we see people are suffering from these diseases, we need to find a cure for it because this is part of our obligation to look after people who are in distress. Then I think that's a very positive thing.
I don't think that we're able to come up independently with a consistent formula for moral behavior, and I'm very glad that we are inspired by religions towards ethical behavior.
In order to overcome this existential problem, you have to find a way. If it is Christianity, Hinduism or Islam or Buddhism or Judaism or whatever it is, if you can find a solution through any of this, then you have the freedom to follow that path.